If you have recently experienced a miscarriage, chemical pregnancy, or ectopic pregnancy, you might just feel like you want to become one with your couch and never leave the house again. Unfortunately, I just experienced my fourth pregnancy loss. And despite the disappointment, I feel like I'm doing okay. I have a lot of tips that I've learned through experience about how to get through this really difficult time, no matter where you are at on the emotional spectrum right now. If you're new, my name's Jess. I'm a certified nurse midwife and infertility mom. My first pregnancy ended in a miscarriage at about 7 weeks. Then, about a year later, after 3 rounds of IUI or intrauterine insemination, I was able to conceive my beautiful daughter Ingrid, who just turned 3. And in the past 2 years, since we have been doing infertility treatments and trying to conceive a sibling, we have experienced an 11-week miscarriage, an ectopic pregnancy, and this last week, after our first IVF frozen embryo transfer, I experienced a chemical pregnancy. If you're experiencing any type of pregnancy loss right now, I am so sorry. It is just awful. And especially if you were trying to get pregnant for a while, it can just feel completely devastating. So if you are at that point where you feel like you just want to be a lump in bed or on the couch, that's okay. But my first tip would be to feel those feelings, but then allow them to pass. Don't hang on to those feelings of devastation and just hash them out over and over. It can be really easy to get stuck in this loop of why me? Why does my friend get to have a baby, but I don't? And the thing is, you're never going to have answers to those questions. And if you just keep going over that over and over again in your mind, it eventually becomes kind of a permanent mood. And if you let it, it can become your entire personality. And you do not want to be the woman who had a miscarriage. I have been that person. She is absolutely miserable to be, and she's really unpleasant to be around too. I know I've talked about affirmations on this channel before, and I think this is one of those times where affirmations can be really helpful. You can go on Pinterest and just type in like affirmations for pregnancy loss and make yourself a Pinterest board. So when you start having those thoughts creep in of like, oh, I did something to make me unworthy of motherhood, or my body is broken, or things like that, you can help shift that mindset because those thoughts just are not true. As you monitor your thoughts to try and help yourself feel better, you can also try and help your body feel better, which brings me to my second tip. Make a list of things that make your body feel good. When you're upset, it can feel like your whole body hurts, but I find the opposite is also true. If you can make your body feel better, that can also improve your mood. This list can include really simple things like taking a warm bath, drinking a cup of really good coffee, taking a walk, things like that. Make it a goal to do at least one thing on this list first thing in the morning, and you can find that over the course of your day it has a cumulative effect. If you do one thing that makes you feel good, then you have energy to do something else that makes you feel good. So for example, the other day when I got up, I had Matt make me a really good cup of coffee with my favorite beans. I had been avoiding caffeine since embryo transfer, so it felt particularly amazing. Then I felt like I had energy to get outside and do some yard work, which I love doing. We moved to our forever home a few months ago and we're working on turning it into a homestead. We have tons of blackberries to rip out. And so it was just a mindless task that I could do where it felt good to be outside, enjoying the smell of the autumn leaves and enjoying the sun on my skin. You may find too that it feels good just to be productive and it makes it easier to get through the rest of your day. Tip number 3 is to give yourself things to look forward to. If you were super excited looking forward to a baby and now you don't get to look forward to that, you've got to give yourself something else to look forward to fill that gap so you don't just focus on what could have been. When I had my 11-week miscarriage, I had been saving up all of my vacation time for maternity leave. And then when I found out we weren't going to get to have a baby at the end of the year, I booked a trip to Vegas, a trip to New York, and a trip to Hawaii, all within about 2 months of the due date. And I realize it's probably not financially responsible to go quite that overboard, but I did find it really helpful. It doesn't have to be things that are quite that expensive, but just little things that you can look forward to help you get through your day. So, like this time around, I planned a whole Thanksgiving dinner with one of my best friends, even though it's only October. We also planned a night out at our favorite cider brewery and pizza place with friends, just so we have, stuff to look forward to remind you that life is good and that there are people in your life who love you. My fourth tip is to seek mental health support if you need it. If everything on this list feels completely impossible, or you try some things and you just can't feel happy at all, especially if your mood is getting worse and worse, and especially if you're having thoughts of self harm, please, please, please seek mental health professional mental health support. There are a lot of options for medication out there to support your mood, and I know antidepressants have really gotten a bad rap over the last few years, but I have seen them help so many women who are struggling. You can always stop them if you do become pregnant again, but I see a lot of women continue antidepressants through their pregnancy. There are lots of antidepressants that are safe to continue through pregnancy, and typically we see babies do just fine. I personally do not respond well to traditional antidepressants, and they actually have the kind of the opposite effect for me. But there are still other options out there if things are really bad. After my first miscarriage, my thoughts just continued to go from bad to worse. I did try to do things to cheer myself up. We had planned a day at the beach with our dog. We had a Jack Russell Terrier at the time who loved to just like run around on the beach and go crazy. And usually that was something that was really fun for us. And I remember being on the beach with my husband and my dog and just thinking, like, great, now I'm depressed at the beach. And it was like the fact that it was something that usually would make me feel happy, that it couldn't make me feel happy, made me feel even worse. And pretty shortly after that trip, I was walking my dog one day and crossing a bridge, and just briefly the thought entered my mind, maybe I should just walk off the bridge into the traffic below. And it was just a brief thought, but it was enough to startle me and make me realize I'm not okay right now and I need to do something else. We did research options in our area, and what I ended up doing was IV ketamine therapy. I will say IV ketamine therapy was pretty harsh. It made me feel incredibly nauseous, but it did pretty immediately eliminate any self harm thoughts, and it did significantly improve my mood. That was 4 years ago. And I know ketamine therapy has come a long way since then. I think you can access it at home, even, which is pretty amazing. But just there are other options out there if you need help. For me, ketamine therapy got me into a place where I could enjoy things in my life again, with a few exceptions. And that brings me to point number 5. It is okay to cancel baby showers, bridal showers, any events where you are going to be in close proximity to women who are pregnant. Any type of family event where you might have to stand next to someone who's pregnant or hear them talk about their pregnancy. No one cares about your attendance at those events as much as you care about your attendance at those events, and it is just not worth the blow to your mental health to go. Even if you feel like you're doing okay, I still wouldn't recommend it. I attended a baby shower of a loved one after I had my 11-week miscarriage, and it was months after the miscarriage. However, we had been due around the same time, and going to her shower, even though I felt like I was doing okay, when I saw her opening gifts and just being really excited and tearing up and talking about how loved and supported she felt, it absolutely ruined my day. I couldn't help but be jealous. And then I felt guilty that I was jealous of her and that I couldn't be happy for her. And it just absolutely wasn't worth it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you are in the throes of pregnancy loss, I feel for you. It is just one of the absolute worst things we can experience as women, and I would not wish it on anyone. If there are things that you found helpful for coping with pregnancy loss that I left off of this list, please leave them in the comments. I post new videos every Thursday about infertility and pregnancy loss, so please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next upload. I want this information to reach any woman who needs it, and liking the video really helps the YouTube algorithm show it to more people. So thank you so much for watching. We will include an IVF update in the next video too.